So for the next part, once you have the template in Photoshop, you're ready to start manipulating this, but you're going to need an image to do that. So I'm going to go to Google Chrome, and I went ahead and just typed in under search like photograph of a tree. It's really up to you what the subject matter is, as long as it's school appropriate. Some things to avoid though. Let's just talk about this for a second. So first of all, I'm probably not going to go with something like this because there's just not a whole lot of information in the background. Also, I probably don't want to grab something that is just all texture or is a little bit too simple like this. I kind of want to get something, or even like this, because what we're going to basically be doing is, you'll see in a minute, is you'll take the wedge and you're going to kind of grab a section. So that, like if I grab this section, there's nothing there. And even this, it's not really that interesting. So I'm looking for something where there's lots of detail and lots of change. I'm going to do something on purpose. I'm going to grab this very symmetrical image. You can see it's symmetrical in the sense that, like, if I divide it down the middle, it's pretty much the same thing on both sides. Not exactly, but that's a nice image of a tree. And if I mouse down and drag this into Photoshop, sometimes I can get away with that. If that doesn't work, let's see if it worked. Good. So it's on its own image. So this is my mandala and this is a tree. So I say select all, or Command A, edit, copy, and I want to bring this into my mandala layer. So I'm going to say edit, paste. And there it is. Okay, and it's on its own layer. It's called layer 1. And if I hit the move tool, I can of course move this around and I can see it in different spots. Once I have this in the template, I can hit the checkbox and just decide to be there. But here's what you have to understand. You're going to take a section of this and it's going to fit into one of these. So I'm going to take layer 1 so you can really see what this looks like. And I'm going to move it down here so I can really see what this looks like under the guides. And if I zoom in, like what I don't want to do is set this up so that, see how there's a little bit of the image sticking out. So if this was a pie wedge, like imagine I have a plate of pizza here, some of it's cut off. So what I'm going to do is, if I make sure I have the move tools set up and I click show transform controls, if I hold down the shift key, I can make this bigger or smaller. If I don't hold down the shift key, you see what happens, which may or may not matter. It depends on your image. But if I hold down the shift key, it stays in position. And I can kind of move this around and determine what I want to do. And this is really where you're going to make or break your design. Like I probably don't want this, and by the way, you can rotate this if you go to the side and you rotate. I probably don't want something like this because the majority of the image is like this tree bark. It's not particularly interesting like that. But if I get maybe, you know, like I definitely don't want that. See, that's boring. But if I grab maybe some of the tree bark and some of the image, that might be interesting. And here's the goal. You want this to be as asymmetrical, meaning it's not the same on both sides as possible. So like this one works. Seems a little bit too similar all the way around. I really like this one. And I really like this one. Let's try this one up here. So I'm going to grab this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, by the way, hit checkbox there again if that shows up. Go back to layer 1, click on the magic wand tool, and you're going to make sure it's clicked on contiguous. And if I select like that, I get that. If it's not contiguous, here's what happens. I click, and notice it grabbed everything. It's kind of a mess. So make sure contiguous is grabbed again. So you're going to select. And then what I want to do is you're going to just say edit, copy, merge. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab this layer down here, and then I'm going to say edit, paste, and what I should end up with is the pie wedge, like that. There it is, on its own layer. I still have everything else, obviously, but I've got that pie wedge, which is what I want. So that's the next step, is to go ahead and get that pie wedge, and I'm going to show you in a little bit how to take this and start playing around with this. So good luck.